Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially in Nashville, well, on the outskirts at the moment, and I am looking for a food place, breakfast place, pretty much anything at this point. There is a place called the Pancake Pantry, I think that's what it was called, and it's actually just up this way. So I drove by, I'm like, dude, these are gonna be the best pancakes. It was a spot that a lot of people had highly recommended. It's supposed to be the best like breakfast place in town, Nashville style. Only one problem, there is literally 100 people waiting outside to get in. Honestly, I don't got that kind of time, nor do I have that kind of patience. So I'm gonna see if I can find anything else at all. It doesn't even matter at this point. It looks like there's a breakfast place over here on the corner. Honestly, if everything is pretty much the same, I think I'm gonna go and head somewhere else. I did get a bunch of recommendations from our friend Kalani Ghost Hunter, who actually is from Nashville. So of course, who better to ask than a foodie from Nashville, of course. And yeah, so we're gonna see if this is a good idea or a bad idea right now to go to one of these local breakfast places. If we happen to pass by, I'm gonna show you guys the crazy freaking lineup. But after that, we are going to, at some point, go downtown. I think there's also another spot that's kind of on the outskirts of town that I wanted to check out. So we'll see when we manage to get to that, but we got a whole day to just kind of enjoy ourselves. So there's a lot of places over here to eat. I'm actually thinking of doing this one, but I'm gonna walk down here first and just show you the chaotic scenes of this pancake pantry place. You know, it being so notorious, and also it being Memorial Day, that could be why. Maybe I'll try again tomorrow, but I think it was over here on this corner. So that is the Pancake Pantry, where there's quite literally at least a good 60 to 70 people. Damn, that's freaking nuts. All right, we're going back this way. So it looks like we're going to Biscuit Love instead. It's supposed to be Southern style food. They have breakfast, so maybe we'll get a combination of different stuff. Well, that was actually a decent meal. Very, very different. I had chicken and waffles, and it was like a little bit spicy with like this Korean barbecue sauce. What would be really funny is if I pass this pancake place and there's no one here anymore, but I'm gonna go for a little walk, check out the area first. Well, looks like the lineup for that place is still pretty freaking crazy. This is a cool little area. Not too bad. Looks pretty hipster if you ask me, but what I'm gonna do, there's two spots near here that I really need to visit before heading downtown. So we're gonna go to those two first and then go to the other spots. This area is definitely very quiet. I thought there was gonna be more to that one little area back there, but it appears to just kind of be like a few restaurants here and there. Nothing too crazy. I'm actually really excited to go downtown because the last time we were here, I was actually with Frank. It was quite some time ago. I think almost 2 years, year and a half, something like that. But it was during winter. During the day was not so bad, but it got really freaking cold. So it kind of made it a little bit not so enjoyable. I don't like the cold. Even being from Canada, I really don't like the cold. But it is nice and hot and sunny. And the other thing too about the storms, apparently there was another storm late last night. I was asleep. The building quite literally could have collapsed, and I probably wouldn't even have realized anything was going on at that point. But yeah, I was just talking to some other people, and they were telling me that at about 1 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden another storm came in. Now I was outside at one point, so it's not like I didn't notice anything was happening. At some point, I was sitting out on the patio at the hotel, and funny enough, the weather was like calm. There was no wind, it was hot, humid, even still at night. Then all of a sudden, this ferocious wind just started coming in. It wasn't raining, but it was very windy, and it got very cold within about 30 seconds. So that's kind of like your telltale sign that something's happening. All right guys, so I am back at the hotel. The wind is picking up. I don't know what the hell is going on. It was warm moments ago. Now it's cold. My wine is about to go flying. Ah! What is going on?
Like, no joke. This is really weird. I think we might be about to experience some extreme weather.
So one thing I really wanted to check out here in Nashville, or near Nashville rather, we're not even actually in Nashville, or are we? I don't even know. I have no idea. But they have this Parthenon thing, and it is freaking crazy. I'm standing right in front of it. It's kind of like similar to the one in Greece, except it's not like in pieces. This is what we're freaking looking at right now. This thing is nuts. I've seen lots of photos of this over the years. Never had a chance to come and check it out, but now we got some time, so might as well. This is crazy. Man, this thing is massive. Look at that up there. I don't really have any info on it, like why they built it or anything like that. Let's go around the side here and get another view. Look at how long this thing is. Damn. That's crazy. Whoa. So I came up here for a second, just to put into perspective how freaking large this damn thing is. Holy moly. So apparently this thing was built in 1897. It was only supposed to be temporary, but people liked it so much that they kept it. And it is part of a massive park here as well. This is the rest of Centennial Park. Apparently this thing houses statues and art and all sorts of exhibits and stuff like that. I don't think I'm going to go in it, but I did want to see it in person because it's just really cool. There's a bunch of different statues and whatnot all around as well. Here's a good angle just to see how large this thing is. I wonder if it's actually like to scale of the one that's in Greece. I don't know how many of you have ever actually been to it. You've probably seen photos of it. Super famous, super ancient, and they've been kind of restoring it over the years. The last time I was there in Greece was, oh man, that was a long time ago, probably 17 years ago, roughly. And it's pretty much exactly like this, but that one's made of actual marble, and it's people try to take the marble home. Only thing is that it is highly illegal to do that because, you know, it's part of an ancient structure. Not really sure what this is. Carrie Chapman Cat, Ann Dallas Dudley. Probably something for the women's suffrage movement, I'd imagine. Let's see if it says how Tennessee became... Oh yeah, okay. Tennessee suffragists marched from the state capitol to Centennial Park and made speeches to thousands to help garner support for the 19th Amendment. Okay, exactly what I kind of thought it was. There's one more monument down there we can go and check out, but what a beautiful area. Damn. Beautiful little lake here. It's not too busy. I actually thought it would have been much busier, but I'm gonna get a move on here. I'm gonna go see the last monument by the parking area and then head somewhere else. There is this thing as well. I don't know what the heck it is, but let's find out. There's like something on every side of this. John W. Thomas, 1830 to 1906, a native of Nashville, 48 years in the service of the Nashville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis Railway, president for 22 years, president of the Tennessee Centennial Exposition, which resulted in securing to Nashville this park, a worthy man in all the lines of life, an efficient man of affairs, an upright and eminent citizen, Christian and gentleman, a friend and brother. Cool, alright. So I guess he helped with the railway system. There's all these words on all the sides here. Patriotism, charity. So, basically in this little mini-series that we're doing here in Nashville, aka Cashville apparently, I was actually watching one of my good friends' Christmas list video on when he came here, and I did some research. Apparently there is a lot of really nice areas in Nashville, of course, but there's also a lot of not so nice areas. So I kind of want to show both sides of the city, you know, the beaten path, but also the unbeaten path at the same time. So we're going to do a lot of exploring. Some places are going to be obviously, you know, the very popular tourist areas, but some places not so much. So before we get into, like, you know, documenting what modern life is like here in Nashville, one thing I do think that would be interesting is kind of also filming somewhere in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, which I have done before, but I kind of want to get like a better idea of life. There's so many different walks of life in this area, and before we actually do that, I think it's kind of important to learn a little bit about history. So here in the South, obviously, we had the Civil War here in the US in the mid-1860s, well, early 1860s to mid-1860s, and Tennessee was essentially part of the Confederacy. They did have slaves here, and that's kind of why I wanted to come to a historic site. So we've come to Belle Meade Historic Site and Winery, apparently. This place used to be a farm, plantation sort of thing. There is a mansion. There was a family that owned this place for over 100 years, had about 136 slaves, I think is what I read. So I kind of wanted to visit it, take a look at it, and learn a lot about the history, as we've done before in places like Georgia, South Carolina, stuff like that. But this is Tennessee, so it might be a little bit different. All right, got my ticket, got my wristband, ready to go. So apparently we got to walk towards the front of the mansion, and we got to do a little bit of a tour, which will essentially take us through the house, and then we can actually do some wine tasting and some other stuff. This looks pretty cool, but we'll come back to all this after. For now, let's just get the mansion out of the way. I think it's over there. Holy shite. This is freaking beautiful. So I'm trying to figure out where the front is. I think it's around this way. What a beautiful property, though. Oh, there we go. And I guess this is where our tour begins. Wow, look at this freaking house, though. You can tell how old it is. It's over 200 years old. Damn. So we just got the full 45-minute long tour, quite extensive, on the inside of the mansion, the property. Originally it was from a guy who just essentially built this farm, had a cabin. Later on, his son actually built the mansion. The family was known to breed horses, and we're talking the most famous horses in all of the United States. One of them named Iroquois. If you look up Belle Meade and Iroquois, he was probably the most famous horse in the world. Very marketable, as they said. Lots of information. Pretty fascinating too, because a lot of the slaves that used to live here, run the farm for the family after emancipation, ended up working for them anyways. So it doesn't sound like it was a very terrible place. Not every place that had slaves was essentially a terrible place. Not that slavery was a good idea. Obviously it was terrible what happened, and it is a piece of history that we need to learn about. But yeah, very, very fascinating place. It's been 3 generations deep of the same family, and then later on transitioned into or was sold to other people, and then later on to the preservation people. So unfortunately we can't film the inside of the house just because of the artifacts. It's a common thing because they're, like, I guess, nationally recognized artifacts or whatever. They don't allow you to film, so can't do that. But if you guys do come here to Nashville, check out the Belle Meade Historic Site and Winery. We just had the wine and it was really good. They give you 4 different types of wine, all included with the price of the ticket, which is awesome. But we can go and look around the grounds. Apparently there's horses somewhere, so I'm definitely looking forward to finding them, but let's roam. I just noticed there's a little headstone here. Man's noblest friend, erected to the memory of Enquirer, greatest of racehorse sires. Oh, there's a horse buried here. Wow, okay. I've actually never seen a headstone for a horse before. So I think I'm going to start off here. Apparently the original cabin is down this way, which is kind of cool. It's the Harding cabin. So let's go check that out first, and then we'll go and see a few other areas. I'd like to point out that the trees out here are incredible. There's like one magnolia tree somewhere. If I can find where it is, then we'll go see it again. But we've got stone walls. For centuries, stone walls have been used in Tennessee to indicate property lines. Okay, lots of information. But I am trying to save some time now because I do want to head downtown. Where is this cabin? Is it down here? Watch it not even exist anymore. That'd be pretty funny, but just to get... Oh, there's a horse down there, look. Now, how do you call over a horse? It's the one thing I'm like unaware of. Is it... Hey, you! Oh, there's two of them. There's another one behind the tree over there. That is so funny. Is that how you do it? Do you just make like weird sounds with your mouth? Should I just jump over the fence? Definitely can't do that. But yeah, the view, very zoomed in. The views of the property are just incredible. The mansion is down there. Clearly they still have horses here. Okay, so is the cabin like down here somewhere? Oh, I think it's right there. Oh, this is kind of cool. So at some point they actually used to breed deer here as well. And there was one well-known one, I think his name was Tommy, he said. And at some point, Tommy was causing a little too much issues. So they unfortunately had to put him down. But pretty interesting that they used to raise deer. Now, every time I think of deer, I can't help but constantly think back to that time that I spent in Nara, Japan, essentially feeding and petting the deer over there. I don't think there's anything deer-related that will ever even be relatable. Oh, here we have a blacksmith shop. That's kind of cool. So clearly they did everything on this farm. It was, in fact, self-sufficient. And their main thing, their main source of wealth and income came from breeding horses, which is what they were very, very well known for. There was actually, in fact, a big race. I don't remember what it's called. I think it was the Epsom Derby or something along those lines. And Iroquois was actually the first horse to ever win that race in the United Kingdom. So that's pretty fascinating as well. American horses had never done that before. Now we've made it over to the cabin. This looks interesting. So this is the cabin. This was actually where Mr. Harding, John Harding I think his name was, originally lived. You can tell just how old this thing is. From 1807. The house is actually 1853, the mansion back there. Wow, look at this. This is cool. Okay, well, so before Mr. Harding made his wealth, this is where he would have lived. Tiny little shack. Pretty fascinating that people used to live like this. There's another side here. Another bed. Big fireplace. I'm going to imagine they used to use that obviously to heat the place during the winter and to make food and stuff like that. And we got more stuff outside. Looks like there's a little garden. Looks like there's a second story as well, but unfortunately it's chained off, so we can't go up there. But we can go this way. Yeah, it looks like a little garden. I think I'm going to head back towards the... I'm going to see what's back there, actually. That looks intriguing. But it's interesting to note where they started, and the fact that the cabin is actually still here. I'm assuming it's the original cabin. There's also a headstone next to this tree. I wonder what that's all about, but... just the fact that the original cabin is still here, just to kind of show you, how they started, gained their wealth, and then were able to build the other mansion back there. Oh, cool, there's like a little spot here on the river. Here we got raw compost, little view of the river. It's definitely one murky looking river, but I imagine this would have probably been a major water source for them back in the day. Come and collect the water, you know, to wash your clothes, obviously feed the animals. Oh, here they have an old pump. Obviously this pump here was built in 1813. Obviously a joke, just a joke. Another thing to point out is like just how large this property is. I want to go and see those horses. Can I just cut across? I don't think anybody minds. Let's get a little closer to the horsies. There we go, we finally got close to them. Oh, look how beautiful. Look at that. Oh, hello. Still have no idea how to call over a horse. What the? Oh, oh, these guys are a little skittish. This guy almost headbutted the other guy in the nuts, and then he ran away. Wow, so beautiful. This guy's like having some muscle spasms or something. Look at him. He's twitching. Why is he doing that? Huh. Still kind of trying to figure out why they're twitching like that. I don't know if that's like a normal thing. I'm not too familiar with horses. If you guys are, please let me know. Damn, he's a big boy though. Look at him. He's trying to stomp the lights out of the ground over here. Hey, come over here. Hey. So I'm back at the front of the property, and I noticed there's two other buildings down here. Now, one would assume that one is likely the guest house, where guests obviously stayed, and the other one is probably the slave quarters. Not really too sure, but let's go find out. So I was definitely right about this one. This was the slave cabin. But that one I was completely wrong about. That was actually the dairy house. Maybe that one's the ice storage. Let's go in and take a look. I'm going to read that after. Apparently they do private bourbon tasting over here. So yeah, that area was quite fascinating. I'm going to continue walking around seeing what else there is. Actually, it looks like there's more down there too. Alright, looks like we're going this way. See? Now I know. This was in fact used as the ice house. So what's kind of interesting is they have a guy here. His name was Bob Green, and he was actually born into slavery here at Belle Meade. And then after emancipation, he continued to stay and work on the horses and became so well known in the industry that he literally was revered all over the world because this place became internationally renowned, that at some point even the president showed up and quite literally shook hands with the man. So kind of interesting, learning so many of the different stories. The other thing too to point out is that they don't really know what life was like here for the slaves. There's no actual accounts of how they lived, just the fact that there were quite a few here. Like this farm in particular had more well above average in terms of numbers and how many people actually lived on the property here as slaves up until emancipation. And then later on, by like 1880, 1890, there were no more there were no more black people that actually lived on the property anymore. They were all in fact white. Oh wow, here's talking about slave burials. So this is basically a cemetery. Damn. Yeah, so there was not a lot of like records. No one knows whether this was, you know, a reasonable place to live. So we do know like a lot of people back then that actually owned slaves were, you know, huge dicks. Like they were very aggressive towards these people. Now there are handcuffs, like actual handcuffs that they found before. Those were kind of used to restrain people. Again, like I said, slavery obviously was a horrible thing. It was kind of just everywhere, rampant around the world at the time, and you know, just before that as well, and then eventually ended around the world. But they don't know if this was like a place where people were, you know, commonly overly abused, so to say. If you guys understand what I mean. What is this? This looks like a burial site. Oh wow. It is freaking creepy in here. Yeah, this is basically like a mausoleum sort of thing. I don't know who's buried under here. Well, I guess that kind of answers that question. So the mausoleum there no longer has the bodies of the Harding family. Now, one thing I'm unsure of, I probably should have read that sign a little bit better, is if any of the slave bodies are still buried here. The other thing that's interesting is that there are no accounts of paranormal activity. At least that's what the tour guide said. He did in fact say that the 200 years that he's been here, he has never seen a ghost. So if that kind of tells you anything. But then again, I mean, sometimes if you're not actively looking for it, you won't find it, right? Or sometimes you will. I don't know. But it would be interesting to find out if like this is a place that we'd be able to investigate. I do know that there are some here in the south, and I would love to do one. That would be so cool, staying overnight in a freaking plantation. Wow, holy crap. But I am currently getting lost. I'm probably heading in the wrong direction, but let's see what else this place has to offer. I wouldn't mind actually trying some bourbon as well. I think that would be awesome. Found the Carriage house, and for a second I thought this was a real horse. Clearly not. Whoa, that is cool. Can't really see inside, but oh look, Santa's sleigh. Lee Victoria, pretty neat. We got the other side as well. Damn, these are kind of cool, man. Just trying to imagine like riding around the United States with one of these things. Damn, this is built 1890. Alright, I am making my way out of Belle, Meade, and funny enough, I was like, I'm gonna get a bourbon. And then I'm like, you know what? Why am I gonna get a bourbon here? I'm literally heading down to Nashville. I already gave these guys $29 for the tour, $28, whatever it was. Support them as well, right? Of course. But I'm like, dude, I'm heading down to downtown Nashville. Why am I gonna get wasted here when I should get wasted there instead? I don't think I'm gonna get wasted. I have to drive, but I will have a bourbon at some point, because you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans did. What did the Romans do apart from conquer the entire world? Yeah, okay, let's go conquer the world.